We focus meticulously mapping out our own retirement trajectories, calculating our number, building our nest egg, and planning our travel. But there's a critical piece of the retirement puzzle that many diligent savers completely overlook until it hits them like an unexpected meteor. What happens when our own parents need our help? Today, we're looking at how to have the ultimate family flight check without causing defensiveness, awkwardness, or family gridlock. Are you ready?
3, 2, 1, 0, 0, and liftoff. Liftoff. Americans return to space as Discovery clears the tower.
Welcome back to Retirement Isn't Rocket Science. This is episode 19. I spent my first career as an astrophysicist using NASA's space telescopes to map the outer edges of the universe. Today, as a certified financial planner and retirement firm owner with 21 years of experience, I'm helping you navigate a different kind of frontier: your retirement. Our mission here is clear: lower your taxes, strengthen your portfolio, and give you the confidence and the capacity to spend more. Buckle up. We're going to master your money and explore the mysteries of the universe along the way. In today's show, how do you help and protect your aging parents' independence without causing a family feud? Direct indexing, a precision tool for tax savings, or a shiny object that generates financial clutter? And the cosmic squid, a barred spiral galaxy powered by a supermassive black hole.
Space Shuttle Discovery still on its way to orbit after a successful ascent up through main engine cutoff.
Welcome to the Retirement Briefing Room. This is where we huddle up to take a close look at important aspects of your financial life, spotlight pathways of success, and think about how to integrate these into your retirement mission plan. If you're listening to this and you're in your 50s or 60s, you're likely working incredibly hard to build a healthy retirement nest egg. But many of our listeners are finding themselves smack in the middle of the sandwich generation, balancing their own financial future while simultaneously stepping in to guide elderly parents. Today, we're diving into a brilliant piece titled 3 Big Questions to Ask Your Aging Parents, written by Amy Arnaud. Amy is a deeply respected portfolio manager and researcher who masterfully bridges the gap between hard data and the messy emotional realities of family wealth. Elder care attorney Harry Mullis notes that age 75 is the absolute sweet spot to have these critical family conversations. And I agree, hitting this benchmark ensures everything is ironed out well before physical or cognitive limitations make these talks legally complicated or emotionally stressful. But how do we bring this up without sounding like you're invading your parents' privacy? A starting point is think about the kind of parent you're dealing with. Are they independent and just need a hands-off coach? Or are they collaborative and are welcome to a co-pilot? Or finally, are they avoidant, meaning they're dodging reality and you will eventually need to act as a project manager? Once you know who you're talking to, I recommend you avoid one giant, scary sit-down meeting. Instead, break it up and build small conversations over time around the following 3 pillars. Pillar number 1 is checking the pulse of daily finances. The first big question is straightforward. How healthy are your finances? This is a question you want to try to ask your parents in a very kind, empathetic, and diplomatic manner. As adult children, we often misjudge how well our parents are doing because they naturally want to avoid being a burden. Amy suggests looking closely at the logistics. Are bills being paid on time? What are the income sources? Is it an organized stream of Social Security, pensions, and required minimum distributions? To handle this, elder law expert Sally Balch-Herm recommends a radical simplification. reduce the logistics down to basically one bank account and one credit card. We echoed this advice in our practice, helping our older clients automate everything through a single account system where possible. You can even add yourself as an emergency contact on your parents' utilities so you can get an alert if a bill is missed without stripping away their daily independence. I want to highlight an additional item. Traditional estate plans lay out legal mechanics, but they fail miserably in real-world logistics. A trust won't tell you the passcode to your parents' iPhone, the login to their electric bill, or where they hid the physical key to the safe deposit box. I recommend creating a non-legal letter of instruction or a master inventory. I encourage our clients to set up a digital password manager like LastPass or 1Password and turning on the emergency access feature. If a medical emergency strikes, the designated adult child can request access. And if it's not denied within 48 hours, the digital vault opens automatically, saving weeks of administrative nightmares. In my retirement firm, we use a financial dashboard to unify and streamline our clients' naturally fragmented finances, tracking down old legacy 401ks from employers they left behind 20 years ago and consolidating them into a primary IRA instantly simplifies required minimum distributions and slashes unnecessary administrative fees. The second pillar is end-of-life planning, legal safeguards, and hidden tax traps. The second question Amy presents is, do you have end-of-life plans and legal documents updated? If a parent passes away without a will, state law dictates asset distribution, which almost always sparks family infighting. However, the biggest trap here is assuming a will or a trust is bulletproof. I regularly point out this to folks we work with that beneficiary designations on IRAs, 401ks, and life insurance policies completely override whatever is written in a will. We frequently uncover the inherited IRA trap during parent account audits, finding instances where long deceased relatives or ex-spouses are still listed as primary beneficiaries. Catching this early prevents devastating unintended tax bills for their heirs later on. I also have a critical warning regarding powers of attorney. Many people think a generic power of attorney drafted by a local attorney covers them. In reality, major financial institutions will frequently reject POAs during a crisis, insisting on their own corporate forms. One way to resolve this is by having your parents proactively submit custodian-specific durable power of attorney forms to each of their financial institutions while they are still sharp and healthy. And remember, a standard POA, a power of attorney, becomes completely useless the moment a parent is incapacitated by a stroke or dementia. It must be a durable power of attorney, again, durable, to remain valid after cognitive decline sets in. Without it, the family is instantly locked out of accounts and forced into a costly public court guardianship process just to pay for their parents' medical care. And a further nuance here, please do not just name everyone to keep the peace. I often see parents name all of their children as co-POAs, simply to avoid hurting feelings. This creates a massive operational gridlock during a high-stress medical event. An advisor can step in as an objective third party to help parents assign roles based on specific skill sets, like giving the financial power of attorney to the child with high financial literacy and assigning other meaningful legacy tasks to the remaining siblings. From a strict tax perspective, the Secure Act requires most inherited IRAs to be fully emptied within 10 years. If you inherit a massive traditional IRA during your peak earning years, the tax drag can be brutal. Collaborative planning allows advisors to guide parents into executing Roth conversions during their lower tax retirement years, passing a completely tax-free bucket to their children later. The third and final pillar is housing safety and the harsh realities of caregiving. This focuses on the physical environment. Is your current home safe and comfortable for the long haul? That is the question to ask your parents. While an AARP survey shows most older adults desperately want to age in place, the physical realities of multi-story homes can turn dangerous. Proactive planning looks at modifications like first-floor master suites, grab bars, and wearable medical alerts. Alternatively, it means exploring continuing care retirement communities or assisted living environments. Furthermore, there are some tough decisions that often come in here. If an elderly parent with declining vision or slow reflexes causes a severe car crash, they face massive personal liability. A single devastating lawsuit can completely wipe out equity in a home and unprotected savings. Utilizing asset protection trusts or framing the transition to ride sharing as a legal defense shield keeps their core wealth entirely out of harm's way. When it comes to funding actual nursing or home care, there can be a hidden tax impact. If a parent has to pull out $100,000 from their traditional IRA in a single year to fund assisted living, that distribution is taxed as ordinary income. This sudden spike can instantly push them into a higher tax bracket and trigger massive Medicare IRMA surcharges. An experienced retirement planner can map out exactly which buckets to draw from first: cash versus taxable brokerages versus traditional accounts, in doing so to preserve their financial runway. Finally, there is a grave danger of caregiving to the adult child's own financial trajectory. Leaving a job to provide full-time care for an aging parent severely damages your own compound interest and future Social Security benefits. Planners can model these cash flow scenarios to show that utilizing the parent's existing assets to outsource high-quality professional care doesn't just protect the adult child's retirement orbit, it saves the parent-child relationship from severe caregiver burnout. Now, as it comes to breaking the ice with your parents and having these admittedly difficult conversations, I recommend that you might adopt the tactic of shifting the blame. Let me give you a couple example scripts. Hey, Mom and Dad, my financial planner, Dr. Chris, is breathing down my neck. Okay, I don't actually breathe down people's necks professionally, but bear with me because I'm supposed to be the bad cop here. Dr. Chris is breathing down my neck and making me update my own emergency plan. He asked if I knew where your medical directives or estate documents are kept just in case of an absolute emergency. Can we spend an hour putting a quick list together so I can get him off my back? So that's one example. Here's a second example. Hey, Mom and Dad, we need to do a quick annual administrative audit of your accounts. Okay, you might want to work with the wording there because that sounded a little nerdy. Hey, Mom and Dad, we need to do a quick audit of your accounts just to make sure the IRS doesn't take half of it later on and that the banks don't lock us out if you ever get sick. Let's look at the bank forms together to make sure everything is clean. And then a third example. Mom and Dad, we want to make sure everything you've worked so hard to save stays in the family and doesn't get eaten up by probate court. Can we spend some time organizing your account beneficiaries together so we can maximize what you keep? So there's just some examples that you might consider in how to break the ice and have, again, lots of little conversations, not big, heavy conversations. To wrap up the briefing for today, successfully navigating the transition with aging parents boils down to number one, checking daily financial health by simplifying accounts and mapping real-world logistics like digital passwords through a letter of instruction. Number two, securing legal frameworks, ensuring powers of attorney are strictly durable, submitting custodial specific corporate forms, and auditing beneficiary designations so they aren't at odds with the overall desires of your parents. And number 3, proactively modeling long-term care and liability risks to optimize the tax impact of healthcare distributions and protect adult children from caregiver burnout. Stepping in to assist our parents as they age is one of the most profoundly challenging transitions we will face as adults. My brother and I just finished that season with our parents, and absolutely we can speak to that is very special, very taxing, and if we were to do it again, we would like to try to be even more prepared. That said, framing these conversations around organization, tax efficiency, and protecting your parents' hard-earned legacy isn't an invasion of privacy. It is the ultimate act of love and proactive stewardship that ensures the entire family's financial flight plan remains completely unshakable on intergenerational terms. You'll find a link to Amy's article in today's show notes and in our weekly newsletter. Now, let's head over to Mission Control to answer your financial questions and get you retirement ready.
Discovery Houston, 20 seconds to LOS TDRS.
Roger, nice to be in orbit.
Welcome to Ask Mission Control. This week's question is an audio question, and it comes from Todd in California.
Hi, Dr. Chris. This is Todd. I'm from Southern California. I'm a recent retiree, and I'm really enjoying your podcast. I learn something new each and every week about retirement and about our universe. My question is, what is your opinion on these direct index funds that are used for tax harvesting, like BlackRock's Imperial Fund? They seem to be like a black box to me, and I'm curious if there's a scenario where buying into these funds would be beneficial for an individual's retirement. Thanks very much, and keep up the good work.
Congratulations on your retirement, Todd. Huzzah! And thank you for the kind words about the show. That really means a lot to us. You know, if your question, you really hit the nail on the head. To many folks, direct investing feels like a total black box. Wall Street loves to use sophisticated sounding algorithms to pitch these strategies to diligent savers. But as we like to say here on the show, you don't need a PhD or a rocket propulsion background to demystify your portfolio. Let's break down exactly what direct indexing is using a simple analogy. Think of a standard exchange-traded fund, ETF, or even a mutual fund. That's like a prepackaged box of assorted chocolates. You buy a single box and you get a little bit of everything inside it. Direct indexing breaks that wrapper apart. Instead of buying a single pooled box, you're buying the individual underlying stock certificates, all 500 companies in the S&P 500, for example, directly inside your own personal brokerage account. Now, why would you want to do that? The financial industry heavily pushes it for two primary reasons: customized tilting and automated tax loss harvesting. Because you own the individual stocks, you can customize the portfolio. If you have specific environmental, social, or governance preferences, or if you have professional conflicts, you can program the software to completely strip out certain companies or sectors. But the real marketing engine behind direct indexing is what we call tax alpha, generating extra returns purely through continuous tax savings. In a standard ETF, if the broader stock market is up, you can't isolate and sell the individual companies within that index that are performing poorly. With direct indexing, automated software looks inside your portfolio daily or weekly. Even if the overall market is up, the algorithm will automatically sell specific losing stocks to harvest those capital losses. Those realized losses can then be used to offset capital gains tax liabilities elsewhere in your financial life. Now, while that sounds great under a microscope, for the vast majority of retirees or soon-to-be retirees, this strategy introduces what I call a complexity tax. that often outweighs the benefits. Here is why you need to exercise extreme caution before stepping into this shiny object arena. Number one, financial and statement clutter. Instead of a clean, simple statement showing a few highly diversified ETFs, a direct indexing account owns fractions of hundreds of different stocks. This generates thousands of microtransactions. When it's time to file your taxes, your year-end consolidated 1099 can look like a phone book. If you work with a CPA, this mountain of data can dramatically increase your tax preparation fees, eating right into your hard-earned savings. Number two, the extra fee hurdle. Direct indexing platforms are not free. They typically charge an additional overlay fee, often between 0.15% and 0.35% or more on top of any advisory or custodial fees. For most investors, the actual tax savings fail to consistently beat this extra fee drag over the long term compared to just buying a virtually free, naturally tax efficient ETF. Number three, the low basis lock-in trap. Tax loss harvesting is primarily a tax deferral strategy, not a tax elimination strategy. By constantly selling losers and buying replacements, you are lowering the cost basis of your portfolio. Over a multi-year period, your portfolio will become entirely tax locked. The software eventually runs out of positions to harvest, leaving you with an incredibly complex web of low basis stocks while you continue to pay that higher platform fee. Number four, the exit nightmare. Getting into direct indexing is easy, but getting out of it is incredibly difficult. If you ever decide to switch platforms or fire your advisor managing it, you cannot easily transfer hundreds of fractured stock positions without a massive administrative headache. Untangling that web without triggering the exact massive tax storm you were trying to avoid can be a complete nightmare. And finally, number five, zero benefit in retirement accounts. Tax loss harvesting only applies to standard taxable brokerage accounts. If your retirement nest egg is sitting inside a tax-deferred or tax-sheltered accounts like a traditional IRA, Roth IRA, or 401k, direct indexing provides absolutely zero tax benefit while still charging you those higher internal fees. So, Todd, are there scenarios where direct indexing actually makes sense as a specialized problem-solving vehicle? Well, I can think of three very specific scenarios. Number one, unwinding a large concentrated stock position. Suppose you are a late career executive or a retiree who accumulated a multi-million-dollar position in a single company stock, like Nvidia or Apple, over a long corporate career. If you sell it all at once to diversify, you will trigger a massive, immediate capital gains tax bomb. Instead, a planner can use direct indexing software to buy what's called a completion portfolio. The software buys the rest of the market index, but explicitly blocks the purchase of your company stock. Over a multi-year period, the software aggressively harvests losses from the broader index and uses them to systematically neutralize the capital gains as you slowly sell off chunks of your concentrated stock, allowing you to diversify safely with minimal to zero tax impact. A second scenario I can think of is a high net worth liquidity event. If you are transitioning into retirement, but concurrently realizing massive capital gains from an external venture, like selling a business, a medical practice, or highly appreciated real estate, you face a heavy tax burden. By funding a fresh direct indexing account in the year of the sale, the software has maximum opportunity to harvest losses across hundreds of individual stocks to directly shield and offset those massive windfalls. The last scenario I can think of is the multi-generational wealth and charity angle. For ultra high net worth clients, who have large taxable accounts and plan to hold their investments until death. Direct indexing can bypass the low basis trap. While they are alive, they harvest losses to offset current income or capital gains. When they pass away, their heirs receive a step up in basis, which instantly resets the low cost basis to current market value, effectively erasing the embedded tax liability forever. What does this all mean at the top of the house? For 95 to 99% of people, you want to avoid this shiny object. You don't want to let the tax tail wag the investment dog. Unless you're trying to dismantle a dangerous single stock concentration or shelter a massive business sale windfall, the added complexity of direct indexing rarely beats the simple, clean, and highly effective nature of low-cost, tax-efficient ETFs. Instead of chasing a fraction of a percent in algorithmic stock trading, your time and peace of mind are much better spent focusing on the big rocks of retirement tax planning. Think optimizing your Social Security filing strategy, mapping out smart IRA distribution sequencing, navigating the Roth conversion golden window, and avoiding Medicare IRMA surcharges will move the needle far more predictably for your retirement trajectory. Retirement is supposed to be your next great adventure, not a full-time job managing a highly fragmented web of hundreds of fractional stock positions. True financial sophistication isn't about making your portfolio as complex as possible. It's about making it as simple as possible so you can focus on your health, your purpose, and the people you love. Todd, thanks again for sharing your question. Good luck and continued prosperity as you start this wonderful season of life called retirement. If you've got a retirement or a financial question that you'd like us to answer on the show, head over to retirementisn'trocketscience.com and click Ask a Question. Or even better, do as Todd did and skip to the front of the line by calling Mission Control at 704-234-6550 and record your own audio question. Now, let's point our attention in a new direction, towards a beacon of light and swirls of dust that is M77.
And Houston Discovery.
In Discovery Houston, we've got a good picture of Steve.
It's time for the retirement big picture part of our show. This is the moment where we hit the pause button on the daily grind, lift our eyes, and expand our minds with the wonders of our incredible universe. Before I entered this retirement space, I spent nearly 20 years as an observational astrophysicist mapping the cosmos. So, exploring the grand design of everything is deeply personal to me. Today, we're setting our coordinates for a truly spectacular deep space destination. We're talking about Messier 77, or M77 for short. If you were to look up the catalog of famous celestial objects, this one is right up there in a crowd of favorites among astronomers. Why? Because it combines two things we love in science. It's relatively close to us, and it's packed with dramatic, high-energy features to study. Now, how did we find this cosmic gem in the first place? Well, it wasn't discovered by a modern space telescope. It was actually first spotted all the way back in 1780 by a French astronomer named Pierre Messier. Pierre initially thought it was a faint, fuzzy nebula. He showed it to his colleague, Charles Messier, the man famous for creating the Messier catalog to help comet hunters avoid getting distracted by stationary objects. Messier added it as the 77th entry in his famous list. Later on, as telescopes improved, legendary astronomer William Herschel realized this wasn't just a cloud of gas, it was an entire massive spiral galaxy. If you want to find it on a star map, M77 lives in the constellation Cetus, which is Latin for the whale. For our listeners tuning in from across the United States, I have great news. Cetus is absolutely visible from the United States. The best time to catch a glimpse of this part of the sky is during the autumn and winter months when the night sky is crisp and clear. Now, can you see it? If you are an amateur astronomer with a decent pair of stargazing binoculars or a backyard telescope, you can absolutely spot M77. To the untrained eye, it will look like a soft, faint smudge of light. But if you have a larger amateur telescope and a dark sky away from the city lights, you might just start to make out the bright, intense core. For professional astronomers using massive ground-based instruments like the Very Large Telescope in Chile and the ALMA radio array, M77 has been a primary target for decades because it represents the absolute textbook definition of what we call an active galactic nucleus. By the way, these active galactic nuclei, or AGN, shine brightly in X-ray light, or the main source of, quote, noise in my PhD research. I was hunting galaxy clusters who are also X-ray bright, but I was not hunting black holes. So routinely in my PhD work, I would discover another X-ray bright black hole and throw it to the side as I was looking for galaxy clusters, not black holes. So back to M77. Recently, we've got a brand new look at this old friend, courtesy of humanity's premier space observatory, the James Webb Space Telescope, JWST. NASA, in partnership with European and Canadian space agencies, pointed Webb's mid-infrared instrument, or MIRI, right at the heart of M77, and the data they got back is absolutely mind-blowing. Now, when you look at this new Webb image, the first thing that hits you right between the eyes is a piercingly bright, intense core. It handily outshines the rest of the entire galaxy put together. In fact, the light is so concentrated that it actually overcame the light gathering capacity of Webb's ultra-sensitive cameras. So what's driving that incredible power? At the very center of M77 sits a supermassive black hole. And this isn't just any old black hole. It is roughly 8 million times as massive as our sun. Because its gravity is so intensely powerful, it creates a cosmic traffic jam. Massive reservoirs of gas and dust are being pulled inward, spiraling into tight, rapid orbits around the black hole. As all that matter crashes together at mind-boggling speeds, friction heats it up to millions of degrees. This process releases tremendous amounts of radiation, including the X-rays that I talked about just a moment ago, creating what we call an active galactic nucleus. It's like a cosmic engine running at max RPMs. Now, if you look at the image from JWST, you'll see these bright orange lines that look like a giant starburst pattern radiating out from the center. It looks like the galaxy is shooting out laser beams, but that's actually an optical illusion. Those are called diffraction spikes. They aren't a physical feature of the galaxy. Rather, it's a product or a byproduct of the telescope's design. But because the light coming from the central black hole's neighborhood is so blindingly bright and concentrated, the light waves bend slightly around the edges of Webb's hexagonal mirror segments and the struts holding the secondary mirror. It creates a distinctive 6+2 pointed pattern. It's the unique signature of the James Webb Space Telescope, a literal fingerprint of the technology we use to peer into the deep dark. But M77 isn't just a story about a destructive black hole. It's also a story about profound creation. Webb's near-infrared data revealed a massive bar structure stretching across the central region that we can't see in normal visible light. Wrapping around the ends of this bar is something called a starburst ring. This ring is about 6,000 light years across, and it's a hotbed of cosmic fertility. It has an incredible high rate of star formation. In the Webb image, this ring looks like a dense collection of glowing orange bubbles. Those bubbles are actually giant nurseries where brand new star clusters are being born, carving out cavities in the gas as they ignite for the very first time. If you zoom out even further, beyond Webb's focused view, the spiral arms of M77 break out into a faint, massive ring of hydrogen gas that stretches out for thousands of light years. Because these outer filaments look like long, tenuous tentacles reaching into the empty void of intergalactic space, astronomers have affectionately given M77 another name: the Squid Galaxy. As a retirement planner, I can't help but look at M77 and see a little bit of our journey. In our working years, we are often like the active galactic nucleus, generating massive amounts of energy, working hard, accumulating wealth, and moving at 1,000,000 miles an hour. But as we transition into retirement, the goal shifts. It's no longer about just burning energy at the center. It's about channeling that accumulated energy into a new starburst ring of purpose. It's about taking the nest egg you've diligently saved and using it to fuel your next great chapter. Whether that's traveling, volunteering, or spending time with the people you cherish, you want a sustainable trajectory, not a chaotic burnout. The universe has a spectacular way of showing us that with the right focus, the right tools, and a clear vision, even the most complex, high-energy systems can create something beautiful and enduring. You'll find the JWST image of M77 in this week's newsletter. You can sign up for that at retirementisn'trocketscience.com.
Welcome home, Columbia. Beautiful, beautiful.
So I have to take it up to hangar, Joe?
We're going to dust it off first.
We've spent today focused on 3 big questions to ask your aging parents. Now it's time to open the hatch. This is your spacewalk. You are stepping out of the routine and into the bright light to overlay today's insights on your plans and your parents' plans to worry less and retire more. This isn't just a stroll. This is where the work gets done. To move from theory to better outcomes, here are your next mission objectives. Number 1, draft a letter of instruction. Sit down with your parents to log the real-world operational details that wills and trusts leave out. That includes digital password manager emergency access, safe deposit box key locations, and a directory of their trusted professionals. Number 2, submit custodian-specific powers of attorney. Don't wait for a health crisis to find out a bank won't accept a generic power of attorney. Contact your parents' specific financial institutions and submit their internal corporate durable power of attorney forms immediately. And number 3, audit account beneficiary designations. Review all IRAs, 401ks, and life insurance policies directly to ensure contingent beneficiaries are up to date, eliminating the risk of outdated designations triggering probate court or massive tax traps. I challenge you to take one idea from today's show and put it into practice this week to make your retirement and your parents' retirement even better. Thank you so much for joining me. Remember, you've done the hard work of savings. Now let's do the smart work of planning. Until next time, keep your eyes on the horizon. Enjoy the adventure. You are go for retirement.
Mission complete, Houston. After serving the world for over 30 years, the space shuttle's earned its place in history and it's come to a final stop.
We copy your will stop, and we'll take this opportunity to congratulate you, Atlantis, as well as the thousands of passionate individuals across this great spacefaring nation.
We thank the National Aeronautics and Space Administration for providing the radio communications between the Space Shuttle astronauts and the flight controllers. This show is for informational and entertainment purposes only. It is not specific tax, legal, or investment advice. Before considering acting on anything you hear in this show, first consult with your own tax, legal, or financial advisor.